Hey everybody, welcome to this new WeWeb webinar. Today is a special day because it's not a showcase as usual. Sorry, we're gonna present new features that just were released inside WeWeb, and to accompany me today, I'm with Florian, our head of product. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Q. Hello, everyone.
Hey everybody, don't hesitate to introduce yourself in the chat. And as always, to ask us questions while we're building, we're gonna answer them on the fly. So today's webinar is all about two new things inside WeWeb that you all asked. The first one we're gonna show is a WeWeb Copilot. So it's our AI-assisted AI assistant, basically. So using ChatGPT, you're gonna see that we added an assistant that helps you create elements, sections, answer your questions about the product, and even generate formulas. And the second thing we're going to show after is the new CSS classes that enable you to reuse a style across components and elements without having to redo everything and copy paste stuff, because copy pasting is boring, let's be honest. Hey Jonathan, hey Timothée, hey Grady, hey Julien, hey Sebastian. That's really cool because we've got people on all the channels. So I've got people on Twitch, LinkedIn, and YouTube. That's nice.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Hopefully, guys. Yeah, just one thing about LinkedIn, though, if you've got the time, LinkedIn is capped to 720p. So if you want to see the stream in full HD, you have to switch to YouTube or Twitch. I'm sorry for this, but this is a limitation of LinkedIn. But in the meantime, let's dive inside WeWeb already. So let me put you on my other screen and share my screen. Okay. And here we go.
Here we are.
Hopefully you can see my screen. I will zoom a little. So for people that are used to webinars, this app, you know it already. It's an old app we've built with Joyce some time ago that I will reuse to show you WeWeb Copilot and the classes. So the first thing is that now, like it used to be in beta because we wanted to test it with users and we had your feedback. That was really cool, by the way. So thank you for like all of you that help us during the beta. But Copilot is still in beta, but it's a public beta now, so everybody has access to it. And you see now this button should be available in all of your projects. And when you click on it, you have several options. So the first one I want to show is to create a section or an element. So basically, you know, like the section is a big chunk of a page. An element is just a simple one. And you can use a prompt to generate this section or this element. For example, let's say I want to create a button. I will ask WeWeb Copilot to do this for me. So I want a call to action sign up button with a modern design.
Modern.
Modern, yeah. Keep in mind that you have to actually, it's one of the limitations, and that's why I present this feature first. One of the limitations of ChatGPT is that it's still a bit bad to understand what you want to create as a design. So that's something we'll work on, and also OpenAI will improve on. So you have to be, most of the time, you have to be really specific on what design you want. So here, for the sake of the example, I use like a simple prompt, but if you can be really specific, because yeah, ChatGPT has kind of like is not really good at interpreting design from prompts. But what we did talk about with other users, and what is coming to ChatGPT is that they're adding the vision, for example. So maybe soon in the future, you'll be able to generate elements and sections from visuals, for example. So, and it will be better, I think. But the cool thing is that I can drag and drop my element, and you see I have a sign up button that was generated but by WeWeb Copilot. That's totally editable inside WeWeb, you see. So it's a button inside WeWeb, and I can change the text, obviously. So could change to login, could change the design. So I won't do this right now because I will reuse this button, especially just after for the classes. But you see, at least it's working.
With a shadow, a modern shadow.
Yeah, with shadow. Yeah. And he commands it to show the shadow, actually. Yeah, and the shadow is interpreted. Actually, it's quite complex, this one, but yeah. Nice. So next thing we can do is ask a question to our WeWeb assistant. Internally, we call it MaelGPT because Mael is our support guy here at WeWeb, and we wanted to basically turn Mael into a bot and help him. So, and I think this is one of the best thing in WeWeb Copilot because it's really helpful when you want to, let's say you're new to WeWeb, you don't know if you have to go to the docs, to the academy, which plugin to use. Basically, you can ask a question as if you were asking a question to a human, and that's really powerful. And the cool thing with this ask a question features is that it has all of WeWeb context because we gave it the documentation, the answer we gave you on community, on Slack channels, in the chat. So it's always learning on things you're asking us. So it's always like the knowledge is always improving. And one thing I can ask, for example, is I want, or tell me how to add payments to my app. I don't even need to tell that it's a WeWeb app because obviously MaelGPT knows everything. And yeah, it will tell me that to add payment in my app in WeWeb, I will use this. I will have to use the Stripe plugin. So it's in plugins, the extension menu. Then I will need my API keys. Then I will have a payment form. Then I will display this form. And then I will need to add a workflow to go to the Stripe payment and yeah, edit the settings. So it's really cool because you can ask it anything you want. And as always, when you've got answers, it's really helpful for us if you use these buttons like or dislike, because what we do is that we'll start the result and improve MaelGPT, like WeWeb Copilot, based on your feedback. So that's really helpful for us. So if you can, please use this feature. And I don't know, do you guys in the chat have any idea of what you want to ask to MaelGPT? I know that I have some other questions. So obviously you've got your history of questions, so you can check the previous question you asked. For example, one time I asked it to display the current weather data in my app, and it gave me like how to use the open weather map and the weather API with WeWeb. That was really helpful. And I was like, yeah, I want to use it for like this specific city, like Lagos in Nigeria. How can I do this? So the cool thing is that it did know the weather API docs. So it gave me the parameters I had to enter to do this API call. So that's really, really cool. So I don't know if any one of you have any questions to try, or if you try it already. And I would be really interested to know what you did ask WeWeb Copilot already. In the meantime, we can do something even better. I think that's the thing I love the most with WeWeb Copilot is generating formulas and JavaScript functions. It's really powerful.
We've got a prompt.
We've got a prompt. So I will need to try this before. That's the moment of truth. So I will need to do this in creator section, I think.
Shut you. What you're asking for will be improved, I think, in 3 or 4 weeks.
Because I think animation are not handled yet.
We may have a surprise for you in some weeks, like keyframe support.
I will try just to, like, for the sake of trying. But yeah, the animations are coming to WeWeb in a few weeks, hopefully. But I'm interested to know what it will generate, though.
I agree.
But this is not magical. That's something. Sorry. That's something we told users before, is that it's not magical. So most of the time you will need to revert back to designs, because generating designs from WeWeb Copilot could be a nice way to get ideas, but sometimes you will have to like change so many things that you shouldn't like base your whole design on this. Yeah, I think the section is broken. Yeah. Yeah, because we have custom HTML and stuff. So yeah. And we've
So
got a
Anthony is
question.
asking for, no, well, yeah.
What is its limitation in terms of executing requests? For example, more complex than a button. I think you can generate anything that is static, but as long as if you're using, like if you're asking for animations, for example, stuff that has like internal logic, like workflows based on user interactions, it won't work. So it works only on design, like because it's only generating HTML and CSS behind the scenes. It's not generating any JavaScript for now. So it's just like static designs. And tell me if I'm wrong, Flo, but I think...
No, that's exactly that, and it's a nice transition for the next question from
Yeah.
Anthony. How about Figma imports? So we are keep working on it. We've got a plugin for that is in private beta. We are iterating on it. It's starting to be satisfying. Not enough for now to go public, because we tried to be not too much opinionated. Like the Webflow, for example, import plugin that is really opinionated, meaning that you need to use only auto layout on all your elements in Figma if you want it to work. So we tried to do something better, but it's not that easy because Figma is not built for that. But we are getting there, so a little bit of more patience for that. One thing though is that we work on importing at least easily the colors, the fonts into your design system, so you don't have to copy paste everything when you start a project to start your design system. But we are working on it, and this is why also you have an import HTML feature in the Copilot, I guess. You can show that. This one, basically, the plugin from Figma is generating the HTML. So the idea is that you can also generate HTML from ChatGPT, for example, for any tool you like, and put it in there, and we will translate that into the web editor so you can get started. So it's not really a Figma 2 WeWeb, it's a Figma 2 HTML2 WeWeb. It's working like this. And I think that's it. Tell me if it answers your question.
And for the question for Andre, sorry, like, does WeWeb Copilot handle the classes? Not yet, because that were two features that were developed in parallel, but that's something we will probably add in the future. So yeah. And thanks, Sharat, for the nice feedback. And thanks, Anthony. So nice.
Thank you.
So one thing I want to show you is definitely the formulas and functions, because I find it to be really powerful, to be honest. So let's say I want a text with the usernames, like written usernames, and then all the names of my users separated by a comma. Knowing that each of these users, so obviously, yeah, me and Joyce, but also people from Xano, that's friends from the French no-code community, they are coming from a collection from Airtable. So to do this, I would have to create a JavaScript function, and because I'm lazy or I don't have the time, I will use WeWeb Copilot for this. So I will bind my text, and yep, not this, sorry. So here I will bind my text, go inside the JavaScript, and we'll see the formula just after. And you see now you can generate functions here. So, and I will just describe what I want to do. So I want a text with user names, and then the names of each user separated by a comma. So, and this won't be enough because WeWeb Copilot has to know on which data you wanted to apply this. So the cool thing is that you can add data to use inside your prompt. So here, I'm telling WeWeb Copilot to use the users collection inside this query. And if I generate, hopefully this will work. So you see it's generating code on the fly, getting the users collection, then the data inside the collection, then taking each name, joining them by a comma, and giving me the end results. And this works. So you see, I've got exactly what I wanted to do. And the cool thing, the really cool thing that I love with Copilot is that it's also commenting the code. So you can still edit it because in the end, it's really simple code, but you don't have to bootstrap it yourself. You let the AI do this for you, and then you can edit it according to your needs. So that's really, really cool.
So
can we refer to a JavaScript library in the requests? No, because like the code has to use the ones that are actually in your project. So I'm not sure. Maybe Flo has the answer. So maybe if you use, for example, Chart.js or the date plugin, it will use like the libraries. But you can import libraries from Node or NPM because they need to be in your project to
yeah, exactly. So right now, you cannot do it easily because you would have to add your libraries into the custom code of your page, in the header. And we don't execute that code into the editor for security reasons for now. But we are talking about adding a button to execute that code. So if we do that, we may be able to give you the instances of your JS libraries. And so theoretically speaking, we could add those instances into the context when we ask the AI to create the code. So right now this is not possible, but this is a great question, and I think we could think about it.
One other question, yeah. Is it possible to give context-based prompts to build on top of existing scripts? So right now, when you generate, you see, so it was my prompt was wiped. So it's not, I don't have the context anymore. So if I ask it again, it will rewrite the whole function, and maybe that's something we'll add in the future. So yeah, right now it's starting from scratch again.
Could you try to just copy paste the context in here and put it in the prompt? If you take everything, yeah. Could you tell him I have this prompt, I have this code, and I need to improve this and that.
This code to give me first names only, for example. Then I will paste it and data to use users.
Let's try.
That's kind of a hack, but I think it will work here. Yeah, so it's like adding this, so the first name. But you see, it was like it has it did rewrite everything.
Yeah, and you can iterate also. If you are not satisfied in here, you can
give me.
We will send the full conversation, so the AI will understand the context of how you generated it, like when you speak to ChatGPT.
Yeah. So instead of the first name, I asked for the last names, and you understood it's getting like you're reusing the same scripts, and it works.
Huey, another Andre gave more details about his questions about UI kits and classes just before the JS Libre request. So I can answer that. So the answer is yes, you will still need to use UI kits. We'll get there just after in the demo, and we will work on classes. But to give you a quick answer, you will add classes to elements. But for example, if you need to add classes to some states, so you have a button, or an input, for example, and you wish to add another class for another state, you create multiple states on your input. If you don't want to do that every time you add a new input, the best way to save time is to save that element into your UI kits. And also, if you have some workflows linked to your element, when you save it to your UI kits, it will come with variables and workflows. So UI kits are still really useful for this when you have really a big container with many elements and workflows, and you want to save that to reuse it later. This is still useful, and it will come with the classes too, if it exists in your project, of course.
Many questions. So can Copilot help in creating custom charts? So yes, and up to a point, I would say, because you can ask MaelGPT on how to use like the chart plugin. Also, you can generate like most of the charts GS. It's the same for Stripe, and like every plugin we use is most of the time people are struggling like mapping the data from like their data to the plugins, what the plugin is expecting. So you could ask WeWeb Copilot to generate a formula to do this for you. And in the end, we're working on something that would be also exposing to you the instance of the plugin. So for example, the Chart.js instance, the Mapbox instance. And I think what the WeWeb Copilot would do is that it would use it inside the formula. So yeah, but it won't like write the whole chart for you or create the whole chart for you. You still have to bootstrap this in a way, but yeah, it can definitely help. Okay, let's get back on my project, and now let's show you no-code formulas, because that's really new and that's really, really cool. So you see here, I bound the name of each element in my collection here. And let's say I want the name and the initials of this person. So I can even do this with a formula. But the thing is, WeWeb is really cool because we've got lots of formulas, but maybe we've got too many formulas. I don't know which one to use. So I will just ask WeWeb Copilot to do this for us. So I want the username and his initials. Then I will give it the whole item, the whole item's data, and I will generate the formula. And you see that it's using WeWeb no-code formulas to do this. Demo effect, I have something that doesn't work. It did work just when I tried before. So I will just generate again. No worries. Okay, let me remove this.
I'll tell him.
Yeah, don't use upper. Nice. It works. Yeah, you're right. You can speak with it. I mean, it's almost like a human, except it's a machine, but yeah. And I can even add stuff. So use parentheses around initials. Yeah, it's working. And the cool thing is that it's a complete no-code formula, so I can even like drag and drop stuff, add new formulas to it. I mean, I can edit everything. And yeah, that's really, really cool. And you see on my design, it works. So yeah.
Oh, this is
Any
nice,
questions on this? Maxence, try it. Really cool to see this. Try this one. Absolutely killer feature. Even solved the prompt I couldn't do for the free GPT version. Nice. Really cool. Yeah, the idea is really to help you bootstrap formulas and functions. It's not replacing the human, because we wouldn't recommend you to use it for everything, but definitely, like, beginning, you don't know which formula to use, and then you can still refine it because it's still a no-code formula. So I think that's really cool for this. Okay, we've got another question. Could you generate more than an element? What if I wanted to generate an entire page? For example, 5 blocks, intro services about a partner portfolio, like a standard presentation style website. You would ask 5 times to generate 5 sections and then just drag and drop that right, like the services one after intro, for example, and etc. Question. Oh yeah, sorry. That's a technical question, and it's not. We won't have time to answer all the questions. So because it is about classes and Copilot, but I would say that next week we are hosting the first public office hours with Flo on Tuesday. So this kind of questions, please keep them for the office hours. We'll be really happy to answer them. But yeah, we want to keep this webinar on the classes and Copilot. Sorry.
Feel free to create a ticket in the support app.
Yeah, I will send you the link. Can you tell me more about Copilot rate limits? That's a really cool question that I wanted to answer, and so you went faster than me. Actually, it's limited to 50 requests per month for every user, and that's something we're just trying just to see if our infrastructure can handle it, if it's like not too costly for us, because we do have to pay for OpenAI. And what will probably happen is that this limit will be lifted in the near future, even next week, for example. And we'll probably have a rate limits according to plan. So, for example, free users will be limited to 50, starter to 100, and scale to 200. I don't know. This is not like, we don't have any opinion on this yet, but that's probably something we'll do. But yeah, at the moment it's 50 per month. But it will be, yeah, as I said, it will be lifted like really soon because we just released this feature this week, and we'll last week, sorry, and we'll improve on this.
Yeah, exactly. Need to iterate on this.
Okay, let's go back to classes. Nice. So let's get back. You know what? Let's drag and drop a classic button from the UI kit. Here, let's add a bit of margin. No, let's throw it in a div first so that I will have some space around it. Okay. And okay. Let me just add some margins. So yeah. Okay, so this button, which will be my future sign up button, cool, but really bland. Yeah, I mean, I won't say boring, but a bit. And I want to improve it. So what I've done is that before I created a class, a CSS class that I can apply to buttons, and then I will explain to you how to use classes. But basically, I will click on my button, and you see here, after the states, so the state will redesign a bit, and now you have like the classes. And you see now I have a button classes, and when I click on it, my button totally changed. Why? It's because I created all the CSS properties that are part of this class, and I saved them in this class. So for example, and you will see them now in yellow. So for example, the text background, which is black, is part of my class. The size of the text, the font family, I mean, everything you see in yellow here is part of my class. And let's say my button is not big enough. I want to use a 30 pixel size. I edited it, and you see now it's gray, meaning there's been a change. So if I want to add it and update my class, I can click on this icon here, and you see that WeWeb knows that the text was changed, and it's like asking me if I want to save this change to my class. So I will say yes, and now my class is a 30 pixel button. And let's say I want another button. So here I will add some space between my two buttons. So give me just a few seconds. So not this, but this.
Yeah, column, yeah.
And this is my login button. I will apply the same class button. But the thing is, I don't want like all the buttons to look the same, because I want a primary button and a secondary button. So what I can do though is that I can use what we call a subclass, which is inheriting of the first class. So here I created a subclass called secondary, which inherits from button, but is applying new designs to it. So you see, it changed the background color, the color of the text, and added a border. And the cool thing is that I can also apply classes to states. So let's say, yeah, finally I want all my buttons to be black, but I want them to be white when the user is hovering them. What I can do is that I can add a state, so a custom state, or like the one that we have already, like the hover, and then I can apply the secondary class only on this state. Now when I go in preview, when I'm hovering, you see it's changing the design. It's really cool. And yeah, that's a really simple way to use classes, and really it is the best way now to reuse styles and have consistent styles across your app. So it could be used for, like, I showed buttons, but you can use this on divs, on cards, on text, on everything you want, and really have a standardized design system thanks to this. I don't know if you have any question on this, and maybe after we just have a small demo from Flo on inputs, because I think he went even further using the focus state. So we can show you this if you want. But yeah. In the meantime, I see we've got a question. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Flo. Go ahead.
But to tell you a bit more about that, basically you can add any classes to the root. In here you just have button, but you could add more. Not only as a subclass. You could create another class and call it margin, for example, or margin button, something like this. I know, or some colors. Yes, you could use it. You could create your what some call utilitary classes, and you can add as many classes as you want in here. And of course, the subclasses can be applied only if you add first the classes here. So you could create a class like margin button and then have as a subclasses small, medium, big, something like this. And basically, if you are used to work with big design system with many classes, you can basically create them as you want. And as you can see, you can reorder the classes in here. So it works like the CSS class. The last one wins. So if some classes share the same properties, the last one will win. So this it's the same for subclasses. So you can really work out as you like, and there is no one best practice to work with classes. You have many of them, and with this, normally you should be able to create your own way of working with classes. My only advice would be to be consistent. If you decide to go in a way, for example, in here, Q did a button class and then primary and secondary as just a secondary subclass, but some others would create a primary button class and then would have small, big, over and active and focus and as a subclass, and would create another class with button secondary and again small, big, and so on. So basically you can do really as you want, and then apply them to your elements. And if you have some more complex elements and with many states, with many classes applied, you can save them into the UI kit too. So it's working with each other. Also, something you maybe you could do, so you can see you can click on the properties, on the yellow properties, to see from what classes it comes from. If you click here, and also, I don't know if you plan to show that, Q, but you can also add formulas into classes.
Yeah. So let's say my yellow text, instead of like being hard-coded, is actually a formula. So I will use the simple text here, but it could be any formula. It could even be like with, functions and stuff. But this I will store inside my yellow text. So text color, you see here, it's a formula, and it's saved inside my class. So if I apply the button secondary, I mean, it's overwriting because now it's white, but if I use the yellow text, it's yellow and it's a formula.
It can be extremely useful also for some content divs, like if you need to sometimes calculate a height, you bind to it and you had a formula like calc 100 VH minus 30 pixels, those sort of kind of things. You can do it easily.
Try this, yeah. So creating this class and changing the height. So where is it? Here. So it's a calc 50 minus pixels.
Hello, Xavier.
I don't remember how it works though, calc. So
just the pixel have to be inside the parentheses. Yes, minus 10
after
pixels.
each one, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but
so it works.
usually you would add something like 100 VH, to have the full height.
Okay.
And then minus the size of your header, for example, to make sure that.
So let's say my header is like 200 pixels. It's huge, but you see, it works. And then I can save this in my, so only the height. Where is the height? Height sizing, you see it's a formula and it's saved. So let's say I remove this class, get back to my normal height, and when I add it, it's a formula again, and I have my formula here. Yep. So I think we have a few questions though. Are you planning to monetize Copilot as a standalone feature? I know that this brings costs that have to get back somehow, but this might be penalize some people who aren't using Copilots. I think no. I think what we'll do is that we'll keep like what we said, rate limits according to plans, but we want also free users to have access to Copilots, because that's definitely something that might help also during the build feature. And that's not something we want to make people pay for, I think. And another question for Andre. Could you show how the mechanics of changing the properties in an already existing class works? So I think I showed it already, but I can show it again.
You just did it, but you can see it again.
Yeah, like let's say I want to change my padding to 23. So you see it's getting gray. So I can revert back to button, like the class. Let's say 23, and then I will have to edit my button, and you see that it's showing me what has changed, and I will just select the padding. And yeah, now my class is updated. So you see the other button changed also. Okay, Maxence is asking, does the formula works from page to page knowing some variable are unknown when switching a page to another? That's a great question, because classes are part of a project, so they work across pages. But if you use variables, I think you'll need to use variables that persist across pages.
Exactly. So it's not, you need to be careful if you are using variables into your classes, really, because if the variables doesn't exist while you use it, it won't work. It will be unknown. Also, if you intend to, right now you cannot, you can share the design system, but we are going to revamp how design systems work. But you will be able to share your classes between projects. And if you do that, your classes won't work in another project. So you really need to be careful. If it's a class for only that project and you really know how to use it in the context, it will work. But my advice would be to try not using too many variables into your classes. because you can break it really easily.
Another question, I was unselecting before saving the formula inside Classes. Why was that? Because I don't want everything to be updated. Because basically, when I created, for example, this card, I updated like many CSS rules. But when I want to create my class, I wanted only to have the 8 inside it. So you see, like WeWeb is telling me, you've changed all of this, and by default, we select everything. But I want this specific class to use only the height. So I will only select the height, for example. But I could be adding the color, the overflow, the width, I mean, anything you want. Just that you have like the complete freedom of selecting what you use inside the class. And hello, first of all, congratulations for the new features. Thanks a lot. Looking forward to the components. We do too, and we will tell a bit more about the components soon. Will there be a folder option in the future to better organize classes?
Yes.
Yeah, because that's
Yeah.
something we had as a feedback also during the beta, but not live yet. But yeah, I think so.
To tell you a bit more, you're going to have a new icon in the header, in the menu, in the top menu bar, that will be design system. And in the settings right now, you have fonts and colors and everything. It won't be there anymore. It will be in a dedicated panel where you're going to have your classes, you're going to have your colors, your fonts, and after that, the components, of course. And you yeah, and also design system won't be anymore at the workspace level. It will be at the project level, a bit like Figma. So when you wish to edit a design system, you're going to have to go to one project to do it. And you will be able to then toggle the design system to be shared into your workspace. So you can access it in another project. But design system will be linked to a project and not in the workspace like it is right now. And so in here, you'll be able to manage really anything you have into your design systems, classes, list of colors, fonts, and components after.
And for Andre, wondering why are REMs not everywhere in CSS? I think that some legacy stuff will need to add them elsewhere. So I invite you, sending you the links to add this ID to feedback.weweb.io, and we'll prioritize this feature. But yeah, because we began to add them, but yeah, there's still like CSS rules that need to be updated. But just that there's many things to do, we have a huge roadmap. But yeah, definitely if you have any ideas on how to improve the classes, the WeWeb Copilot, I mean, everything, feel free to give us your feedback at feedback.weweb.io. Until now, I've had to set it with formulas always, which is not the base approach, and also like not responsive, not sure about this one. Yeah, so definitely if you want to use REMs or EMs, create a ticket. And I think for responsiveness, you can use formulas with the page size, but yeah, that's a bit off topic for this for today. Again, I invite you, because it is new, to come see us Tuesday next week for the office hours. I will send you. You did receive normally, if you're a WeWeb user, an email, and you will see a notification inside WeWeb to like give your questions in a Google form, so that we can prepare them in advance, and we'll answer everything related to like product questions during this office hour. So yeah,
So something we missed to show is the responsive in the classes. Indeed.
Oh.
So you can maybe change the size on tablet or
nice.
maybe with a formula to answer Andre also, because yes, formulas are responsive. You can have another formula for tablet and another formula for mobile. It will work.
Let me use only a yellow text on mobile, because I want mobile users to click on sign up. And then on desktop, I'd still, yeah, maybe it's the opposite. So
yeah, exactly. But I think you can do more. You can just add the size, just change the size on mobile, for example. Go on mobile and change the size.
Change the size, yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Now you can go back to desktop, for example.
Yeah.
and you can save your
this
class.
way, okay.
Exactly, and update your class. And in here you see you've
Yeah.
got a value for desktop
Okay.
and you've got a value for mobile. And if you added a different formula for desktop and another formula for mobile, you would have two lines in here with two different formula applied, and you can save that to the class. And when you apply your class, it will be responsive immediately.
Let's say if I do text color and then I want it on mobile to be yellow, because I don't have any taste, as you see. I'm really bad at this. And then on desktop, I want it to be red. This is really ugly, but you'll see that it works. Then you need to apply the class. Yeah, obviously I need to apply the class, and then I will unselect everything. And where is my text color? It's in color, I think.
Demo effects, yeah. Color is not responsive.
I know, because it's still bound. Yeah, my bad. Okay, because my class was existing before.
Exactly.
So now text color, and text color is here. So you see formula.
Two values.
Nice. And so it's working. Oh, I have to save again. So yellow, and desktop we said red. Okay. Now if I edit text color, nice. So you see I've got like desktop and mobile. Nice. And now it's working. Yellow and red.
So why you do have to save every time, because if you don't, you won't be able to override your elements with some properties. So if we save it automatically, we would end up with the Webflow way of doing classes, and you would have to have a class for everything. And this is something we didn't want to have. This is why you have to save it. It's a bit more cumbersome, but in the end, you won't break your project easily. This is why we did that like this, to don't force you to use classes.
Can you change classes of an element through workflows? That's a great question. I don't know. So maybe Flo knows. Hopefully.
No, but I'm interested why you would have to do that. Normally, what you would do is to create a state with a different class, and you would trigger the state.
That's true.
You would trigger the state depending on the context. That would be the best practice to do those kind of things.
Yeah. And as we did talk about before, this is the first step towards reusable components. So reusable components are still coming to WeWeb in a few months, maybe. We don't know exactly when yet. But yeah, like classes are only used for design. And in the future, what you'll have is that you'll also have like what we call reusable component. Maybe the name will change, but that will also encapsulate the behavior and the JavaScript, like the workflows, everything. And that will be the first step towards the marketplace. So yeah, we're slightly advancing on this. And this will be complementary. So you will have like classes on top of components, and you will be able to reuse your components, override the classes, for example, and everything will be interchangeable.
Linked. Exactly. And as I said earlier, you're going to have many different best practices to work with. But when we're going to have the components, you will use less classes, I think. But it depends on how you like to work. But as you're going to have instances of all your components, it will be easier to go to the component editor to make a change, for example. But yeah, this is it depends if you have many projects or just one, and so on.
Yeah.
So
good question. How much attention are you going to be putting into updating classes in the next 3 months? It really depends on your feedback, guys. Like if you have like lots of feedbacks, we will update everything. Otherwise, we have like many things to do still. So like new plugins, for example, the components, I mean, like many things, the logs. So I don't want to spoil everything. And also next week, we'll announce a pricing update. Spoiler alert, it will be a cool pricing update. So cheaper, not the opposite.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really depends on your feedback.
Yeah, and we like to iterate already, so it's our way of working. So we ship something as fast as we can, and then we like to iterate a lot. So feel free to tell us if you want something to change with the classes, and it's not closed. It's always an open subject.
Nice. So I think we answered all the questions related to classes and copilots. If you have any questions still, feel free to ask them before the end. I think we covered almost everything.
Yeah. Should I tease a bit?
Yeah, if you want. I mean, you're the boss, so you can do whatever you want.
Okay, I can tease a bit. I can. Let me share my screen. It's to thank you for staying 1 hour with us. Okay, let me do.
Yeah, Xavier loves when you tease stuff, but yeah. I mean, he's the head of product, so he's got like many private things on his computer. Maybe he will tease like all the new features. You don't know. Even I am not aware yet.
Just one. Okay.
Sneaky. Yeah, exactly.
Let me do. Go here.
First, sharing the screen, you know.
Yeah. I'm just trying not to show
I
something.
believe in you.
Let me go there. So I can share only things I need to share. Okay. Okay, I can share now. Okay, can you see my screen?
I will add it. Yeah. I think that's okay. It's still pixelated. We'll just wait for the connection to improve. But yeah, if you could zoom a little, that'd be nice.
Yes. Is it better?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit pixelated. We're sorry for this, but maybe this is the connection. But hopefully we'll see. Yeah, it's kind of.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys like see better, but for me it's kind of a pixel fest.
Okay. Okay, so I try to zoom a bit more if it's pixelated. So I just added in here an icon in the page. And if I scroll down here, I'm going to have a nice new part in here. So let's say I want this. Let's say I want this icon to just rotate. I can do something like.
I think you should make the icon bigger first so that we see better because it's really small.
I can do that. Oh, it's a really too big menu here. Let me do this.
Because I don't know if you guys saw, but basically it will show us how we could do. You will be able to do animation soon in WeWeb. So yeah, okay, that's cool. Like making stuff move.
This should be open, but I don't know why. Can I do that? Give me a second. Okay, well, it's not a big deal. Okay, so in here, we are iterating on a new panel here. Animation, and you can click here and you're gonna have a nice new bar, except I cannot move that. Please go away. No. Oh, give me a second. Okay, it would be better like this. Okay, so you can edit keyframes in here, and basically, if I select just this, I'm going to be a bit quick in here. That I 3 seconds here, and let's say that I want it to rotate in here, and I can click play. Okay, it didn't work. Why?
Oh no.
Demo effects. Demo effects. No. Okay. And it should work. Okay, maybe I killed it in a bad way.
Andrew is saying, I love how close you're to the community. That's that's the moment you're like, maybe we're too close because we're showing you stuff that's not finished. But yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, well, it was to tease you. It worked just before. I'm kind of
Yeah,
sad
you
right
know, the
now.
classic.
And yeah, you can also import. Okay, let me try to import. Maybe I did something wrong. Can try.
The thing is, animations are coming and should be in a few weeks because it's almost finished when it works. But we still have to do some testing on it.
Okay, I can do that. You can go to your favorites. I think no, not this.
I think you are animating on a different axis, someone is saying. So maybe the axis is not the right one.
Some example here now.
Oh yeah, go back to WeWeb.
Yeah, in
Like
here. Okay,
the
you can.
360. Okay.
And I just need to find the code for that. So let's say you can create this keyframe in the web, but let's say you found this one, or you ask ChatGPT to generate you a keyframe. You can do this. Go there, import, and just paste it here. And ta-da, it would be here. And this time, does it work? Yes, it's working.
We have an import.
Yes. So you can start with something.
Everything.
You can start with some keyframes existing somewhere, and then you can click here and update it into the sidebar here, and then you can have it. Nice new snooze.
Not that I'm seeing the import keyframes. I would want like import CSS for everything in WeWeb, but yeah, that's another story. Nice. So animations, nice. Now you can have like moving stars on your projects.
Exactly. And it will come with some triggers to also trigger the animation when you scroll and all those kind of things. So we are working on this. It's just
cool.
Small teasing.
Nice. So it's been an hour yet already, I should say. So it was really cool. So thank you everybody for all your questions. It was really nice. So and so also nice feedback already for the classes and copilots that will definitely integrate. So next week again, you will see us for the office hours. Then the team, especially me, I will be on holidays, so there will be a pause in the webinars and the office hours, but we'll get back by the end of August. And yeah, for probably a new showcase from a WeWeb user. In the meantime, I hope you all will have a nice week. And for those of you that are going also on holidays, have nice holidays with your closed ones. And see you guys. Bye.